The cartel has a plan, and it's bigger than anyone imagined. Every move Cooper makes now could decide life or death, not just for him, but for everyone around him. Season 3 of Landman is not just about the fight between law and crime. It's about strategy, betrayal, and survival. Fans aren't just watching, they've already guessed the endgame, and the target is clear. Cooper is in the crosshairs, and nothing will ever be the same. The streets of the city are quieter than usual, but that silence is dangerous. In the shadows, the cartel watches, plans, and waits for the perfect moment. Season 3 begins with a tension that feels almost suffocating. Every corner, every alley, every exchange is a potential threat. Cooper has stepped into a world where no one can be trusted, and each decision carries consequences that reach far beyond himself. The cartel isn't just another group of criminals. They are organized, ruthless, and patient. They have been waiting for the perfect time to strike, and their focus is clear. Cooper's past actions, his loyalty, and his growing influence within the Landman world have made him a threat to the cartel's dominance. Fans of the show have watched him navigate dangerous waters, survive betrayals, and outsmart enemies. But the challenge this season is unlike anything before. The cartel isn't just targeting him because of what he knows. They are targeting him because of who he is. He represents everything standing in the way of their ultimate power, and they are willing to do whatever it takes to remove that obstacle. Season 3 doesn't waste time. From the first episodes, the tension is thick. Cooper is constantly under surveillance, and every action is calculated. There are moments when he thinks he is alone, moments when he believes he has the upper hand, but the cartel is always one step ahead. The narrative shows how strategy and patience can be deadlier than violence itself. Cooper's friends and allies may not even realize the danger that surrounds them, and trust becomes a rare commodity. Fans watching have already predicted the course of events, sensing that the cartel's plan will force Cooper into a position where his instincts, loyalty, and courage will be tested like never before. What makes this season different is the scale of danger. Cooper is no longer just fighting for his mission, he is fighting for survival in a world where betrayal can come from anywhere. The show highlights the fine line between law enforcement and criminal life, and Cooper exists on both sides of that line. His ability to adapt, think quickly, and make hard choices is the central tension of Season 3. Every episode layers more pressure on him, showing how even the smartest person can be caught in a trap if they misread the moves of their enemy. The cartel's shadow looms over every character. Even scenes that seem calm carry an undercurrent of danger, signaling that no one is safe. Cooper's intelligence and experience have always given him an edge, but this season challenges him in ways that fans have speculated about online for months. Predictions suggest that the cartel's strategy is personal, almost surgical, aimed at isolating him and breaking his alliances one by one. The first section of the season sets up this tension masterfully, showing how every small choice Cooper makes can have massive consequences. Season 3's storytelling is not just about action, it's psychological. The way the cartel manipulates situations, the way they plant doubts, and the way they corner their targets adds layers of suspense. Cooper, who has always been confident and resourceful, begins to feel the weight of the cartel's attention. His decisions now carry more risk than ever, and fans who follow the show closely can see the signs that something big is coming. The tension is constant, and the drama is relentless. Every phone call, every meeting, every quiet moment could mark the beginning of a trap. Fans have already discussed online how Season 3 seems to be building toward a major confrontation. Theories suggest that Cooper's intelligence, courage, and reputation have made him the cartel's main focus. This anticipation adds a layer of engagement that the writers cleverly use to heighten the suspense. Season 3 demonstrates that the story is as much about strategy and psychological warfare as it is about action and drama. Cooper's journey is central, and the stakes are higher than ever. The first section immerses the audience into this dangerous world, setting up the expectation that Cooper's survival is no longer guaranteed. Every viewer can feel the tension building, knowing that one wrong move could trigger a chain reaction with catastrophic results. Cooper has always been more than just a man in the middle of the chaos. He is the brain behind critical operations, the one who sees patterns where others only see confusion. This season, that ability puts him directly in the cartel's sights. They aren't just looking for a random target, they are looking for someone who can challenge their control, someone whose intelligence and unpredictability make them nervous. Fans of Landman have noticed that while other characters are involved in side plots or distractions, Cooper's every move is being observed and analyzed. The cartel understands that to eliminate him is to remove the single greatest threat too. Their Power. Season 3 gives a closer look at how carefully the cartel plans. They aren't reckless. Every decision is calculated. They know Cooper is capable of outsmarting straightforward attacks, so they craft schemes that are indirect, subtle, and psychologically draining. While the audience may see Cooper maneuvering through dangerous streets, intense negotiations, and risky alliances, the cartel is already thinking 10 steps ahead. They plant information, create distractions, and manipulate allies to slowly corner him without raising alarm. This level of strategy highlights the sophistication of their operations and emphasizes that Cooper is now in a game where mental strength is just as important as physical ability. The tension is built not only through threats, but also through manipulation of relationships. Cooper has always had allies he trusts, but the cartel exploits that trust, turning loyalty into a liability. Friends and partners may unknowingly feed the cartel information or be used as pawns in a plan designed to test Cooper's limits. This season, the lines between friend and enemy blur constantly. Fans watching online have speculated about how these betrayals will unfold, and the show teases these possibilities with careful pacing, ensuring that viewers remain on edge. Every conversation, every look, every seemingly small decision becomes a potential turning point. Another unique aspect of this season is how Cooper's own personality is tested. He is no longer just reacting to threats. He must anticipate them. Every plan he makes carries risk. And even his careful strategies can be anticipated by enemies who are as clever and patient as he is. The cartel understands that attacking him head-on is foolish, so they focus on creating situations where Cooper's options are limited. It's a game of pressure, of manipulation, and of endurance. Watching him navigate this pressure demonstrates not just his intelligence, but also his ability to remain calm under intense scrutiny. Fans have already commented that this version of Cooper feels sharper, more vulnerable, and more heroic at the same time. Season 3 also expands on the cartel's reach. It's no longer just about street-level operations. Their influence is in the courts, in corporations, and in law enforcement. Cooper becomes aware that the world around him is interconnected in ways that he hadn't realized. This knowledge increases the stakes exponentially. Each decision could have far-reaching consequences, and one wrong move could unravel everything he has worked for. The tension is compounded by the fact that the cartel is patient. They do not need to strike immediately. They can wait, observe, and strike at the perfect moment, ensuring that Cooper's path is filled with uncertainty and danger at every turn. Fans have noted that Cooper's role in Season 3 is not just that of a hero in a crime saint, or it's the story of someone facing impossible odds while maintaining his moral compass. The cartel's plan forces him to balance survival, strategy, and conscience. He cannot simply fight back with force. He must outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast his enemies. This intellectual battle is what makes the season compelling, as viewers are drawn into the intricacies of the strategy, not just the physical action. The suspense comes from understanding that while Cooper is brilliant, the cartel has resources, patience, and influence that make the playing field uneven. The narrative also emphasizes the consequences of visibility. Cooper cannot hide forever, and as he becomes more entangled in the cartel schemes, His every action is scrutinized, the tension is heightened as he navigates risky missions, complex relationships, and a world where even minor missteps could prove deadly. Fans have already predicted that the cartel's endgame will involve isolating Cooper completely, leaving him with limited options and forcing a confrontation that will test not only his skills but his resilience and courage. Season 3's brilliance lies in showing mistakes without immediately resolving them. Cooper is central to the story, but the danger is constant and omnipresent. The audience can sense that while he is resourceful and clever, he is never entirely safe. The cartel's calculated approach, combined with Cooper's evolving strategies, creates a tension that builds consistently throughout the episodes. It's not just about who will win, it's about whether Cooper can survive long enough to see the endgame unfold. This section immerses viewers in the strategic chess match between Cooper and the cartel. As Season 3 progresses, the pressure on Cooper intensifies in ways that feel relentless. Every step he takes, every decision he makes, now carries consequences that could spiral out of control. The cartel's influence is no longer subtle. It reaches into areas Cooper thought were safe. Trusted allies are being tested. Surveillance seems to follow him everywhere, and even familiar environments feel like traps. The tension is palpable because the audience can see that Cooper is not just fighting criminals, he is fighting an invisible force that manipulates people and situations around him. Fans have noticed that this season emphasizes the idea that intelligence and vigilance alone may not be enough to survive. The cartel begins to escalate their tactics, moving from strategic observation to direct interference in Cooper's life. They exploit weaknesses in his alliances, turning friends into pawns and creating situations designed to make him second-guess every choice. Each encounter feels layered, with danger hidden beneath everyday interactions. Cooper's life is a chessboard, and the cartel is a player who doesn't make mistakes. Fans watching online have speculated about the exact ways the cartel might corner him, and this season feeds into those theories with subtle hints, suggesting that the final confrontation is not far off. Every scene, even a quiet conversation, now carries an undercurrent of threat. At the same time, Cooper himself is evolving. He is sharper, more aware, and more methodical than ever before. He recognizes that the traditional ways of fighting back, force, confrontation, or brute intelligence will not work against this new level of threat. Season 3 shows him adapting, analyzing patterns, and predicting moves, demonstrating a cerebral side to survival that the fans have long admired. The show emphasizes that Cooper's strength lies not just in his skills, but in his ability to think several steps ahead. Yet, the closer he gets to understanding the cartel's endgame, the more he realizes the cost of failure. Every wrong move could trigger a chain reaction that threatens not only him but everyone connected to him. One of the most gripping aspects of this season is how Cooper's personal life becomes entangled with his professional survival. Relationships he once relied on become complicated, loyalties are questioned, and his sense of control is constantly challenged. This adds layers to the tension because fans can relate to the emotional stakes. Even amidst the high-octane drama, Cooper's humanity, his vulnerabilities, and his determination are highlighted against a backdrop of relentless danger, making every scene feel like a ticking clock counting down to a decisive moment. The audience is kept on edge, knowing that the cartel's patience and strategy could force Cooper into situations where he must make impossible choices. Another key factor in Season 3 is the unpredictability of the cartel itself. They are no longer a single, easily defined entity. They are a network of influence, power, and calculated brutality. Cooper is forced to navigate this complex web while anticipating moves that are hidden, delayed, and disguised. Fans following the story closely have speculated that the cartel's plan involves isolating him completely, cutting off his support, and forcing him to confront their ultimate move. The suspense is heightened because even the smartest characters can be outmaneuvered when the enemy operates on multiple levels simultaneously. This multi-layered tension keeps the audience fully engaged, watching for any sign of misstep or revelation. Season 3 also thrives on psychological drama. Cooper faces not only physical danger, but mental strain. The cartel's manipulations test his confidence, instincts, and judgment every action. Whether it's meeting a potential ally, making a tactical decision, or even resting becomes a potential risk. The show portrays this as a mental battlefield, showing that survival requires more than strength. It requires focus, intuition, and resilience. Fans have already predicted that the climax will test Cooper's resourcefulness to its limits, and the writing carefully builds toward that tipping point. As the tension escalates, the audience begins to see glimpses of the endgame. The cartel's moves, subtle at first, become clearer. Cooper's enemies are closing in, and the environment around him becomes a maze of danger, deception, and high stakes. Season 3 uses pacing brilliantly, alternating moments of intense action with psychological suspense, ensuring that the threat feels constant. Fans can sense that the final confrontation is approaching. And every scene in this section reinforces the idea that Cooper's survival will depend on his ability to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast an opponent who has anticipated nearly every move. By the end of this section, it becomes clear that Cooper is no longer just reacting, he is strategizing under pressure, anticipating betrayal, and preparing for a confrontation that could define the fate of everyone involved. Season 3 has made him the central figure in a game where stakes are life and death, trust is scarce, and the cartel's patience is as deadly as their violence. The suspense builds with every paragraph of the story, keeping fans hooked and theories buzzing as they wait to see whether Cooper can survive the calculated chaos closing in around him. The tension that has been building throughout Season 3 reaches its peak as Cooper finally confronts the reality of the cartel's endgame. The pieces on the board have shifted, alliances are tested, and the dangers that once seemed distant are now immediate. Cooper has grown sharper, more strategic, and more aware of the threats surrounding him. Yet the cartel has one advantage: patience. They have observed him, studied his habits, and manipulated situations so that every move he makes now feels like a step deeper into their trap. The suspense is relentless because the audience can sense that no single action is isolated. Every choice carries weight, and every decision can trigger consequences that ripple through the entire world of Landman. This section of the season highlights how the cartel's power is both subtle and overwhelming. They do not rely solely on brute force. Instead, they create scenarios where Cooper must question everything he knows. Friends become uncertain allies. Safe spaces turn into dangerous meeting points, and information that once seemed reliable is revealed to be misleading. Fans have noted that this season thrives on psychological tension, showing that the most dangerous enemy is not always the one holding a weapon, but the one who controls perception, trust, and timing. Cooper's ability to navigate this intricate web of threats defines the stakes and keeps viewers on edge. Cooper's role as the central figure in the cartel's plans makes this season feel intensely personal. The audience can see that the cartel's actions are not random. Every threat, every maneuver is designed to test him, isolate him, and ultimately force a confrontation on their terms. This calculated pressure creates a narrative where the tension is as much about anticipation as it is about action. Fans who have been theorizing about this season's trajectory sense that the cartel's patience will pay off in dramatic, unexpected ways, and the writing skillfully leads toward moments that are both shocking and inevitable. Cooper's intelligence, resourcefulness, and courage are pushed to their limits as he faces scenarios where failure is not an option. The endgame unfolds in layers, while there are direct threats. The most compelling danger comes from uncertainty. Cooper must navigate traps, deception, and betrayals while trying to protect the people and values that matter most to him. Fans have already speculated that the cartel will force him into a position where he cannot rely on traditional methods of survival. He must anticipate, manipulate, and respond in real time to challenges that test every aspect of his character. Season 3 excels at showing that even the most prepared individual can feel vulnerable when the stakes are this high and when the enemy is this cunning. This section also emphasizes emotional stakes. Cooper's journey is not just about survival. It is about confronting the moral and personal costs of his choices. The cartel's plans threaten not only his life, but also the stability of the world he has fought to protect. Every calculated move by the cartel forces Cooper to make hard decisions, balancing loyalty, strategy, and self-preservation. Fans watching closely can see how these pressures reveal new dimensions of his character, making him simultaneously more relatable and more heroic. The drama is heightened because viewers understand that victory will come at a cost, and the suspense lies in guessing what that cost will be. As the narrative builds toward its climax, the pace quickens. Events that were previously methodical now escalate into rapid confrontations. Cooper is forced to rely on instinct as well as intellect, navigating danger in real time while trying to stay several steps ahead of a cartel that has long anticipated his every move. The tension is compounded by the unpredictability of allies and enemies alike, creating a story where no one is entirely safe and every outcome feels uncertain. Fans have already predicted that the season's conclusion will hinge on Cooper's ability to make decisive moves under extreme pressure, and the storytelling ensures that anticipation remains high. The final moments of Section 4 showcase the intersection of strategy, courage, and consequence. Cooper is portrayed as a figure who must outthink an opponent that is both powerful and patient, testing the limits of his skill, resolve, and endurance. The audience is kept on edge, sensing that every confrontation is significant and that the outcome of the season depends on Cooper navigating